Hello and welcome to Inside Homebrewing. I'm Jay Thomas. And this is my last of my a German Pilsner I brewed up a while back. It came out real good. It, however, did not score very well in a homebrew competition. I used, has a little Vienna malt in it. Came out dark. It is a little cloudy. What else? Oh, and then it got dinged for having the wrong hops and being a little dark for a German Pilsner. Anyway, came out real good. I like it. Oh yeah, it's got a nice little hop bite to it. They said the hops were wrong. I used Pearl hops and Calista hops in this one. I like it, and that's all that really matters. But anyway, today's project, I like to, make yeast starters. But what I do, instead of just using a DME one at a time, whatever, I mash up 3 gallons of mash. I use British 2-row malt normally. Today I'm going to use some Pilsner malt that I have sitting around. I buy it in bulk, so I had Pilsner malt. I'm going to use that. And we're going to brew up a 3-gallon batch and pressure can some yeast starters. So I did a little math. The pressure cooker costs about 75 bucks. The jars are $9. You reuse those same jars in a pressure cooker every time. So, but then those jars came with lids, but then after that, you have to pay for lids every time because you don't reuse the lids, you just toss them out into the recycle. But the lids, for a 12-pack of lids, for all these canning jars, it's about $2. And then the grain, depending on whether or not you buy it in bulk, I'm using 4.5 pounds of grains for this one. With my efficiency, that should get us an original gravity right around 1.040, maybe 1.035, in that range somewhere. And so the grains are going to be anywhere from, if you buy in bulk, it's probably going to be about $5 for that much, for 4.5 pounds of grain, or maybe as much as $7. That's going to be per, let me see, and then I also, that will give you, what is it, about 75 cents to $1, or to 41, between 41 and 75 cents per starter. That's what you do. You have your starter. All you have to do is grab it. It'll be sitting in the closet. Open it up. Make sure you sterilize the lid as you open it up with some alcohol. Dump it in your flask. Dump in the yeast. Bam. Turn it on. You're good to go. You got 12 of these sitting back in the closet. So, but I also use the Eldorado Springs spring water, and that adds a little cost. So my total cost for each of the 12 is going to be about, I do buy my grain in bulk. It's about 70 cents per starter. You've seen the proper pitch starters. I don't know how much they cost per can, but I'm going to have quarts at about 70 cents a quart for my starter. And then you can reuse yeast if you want, or you just buy store-bought yeast. That's going to add whatever yeast costs nowadays, 10, 12 bucks a package. Anyway, I'm going to get started on this. I got my grains out in the garage ready to be milled. I got the strike water heating up. It's a quick and easy day. And pressure can the starters. There we go. Yeah, so with the pressure canner, it's very important to follow the manufacturer directions. So I got mine here. It's a 23 quart. It fits six at a time of these jars will fit in there. Just like I said, follow the directions. Use 3 quarts of water on the bottom. Make sure the lid, or the lid seal, is in good shape. Make sure that is properly installed in the bottom of the in the bottom of the lid. It's got this little pressure release. Make sure you can see daylight through there. I don't know if you'll be able to on here, but I can see daylight if I take the lid out. But you can see daylight through there. Make sure that's not clogged. Make sure the pressure valve on top shows how much pressure you have is on there tight. Make sure the little outlet here is not stuck or jammed up. Put that on there, and I'll show you how I do that. I run it at 13 to 15 pounds in between there for what is it, 15 minutes, 13 to 15 pounds. It's kind of hard to adjust the stove correctly, but don't go under 13. Try to not go over 15 pounds because that gets a little dangerous. And 13 to 15 pounds, 15 minutes, bam, you're done. Then let it cool off. I'll show you how this all works. It doesn't take very long at all. The longest it takes is the mashing the grains. You know, we're going to do an hour mash on that. And then just cooling off, letting the pressure release between each batch. So like I said, it's going to be, it fits 12 in there, or it fits 6 at a time inside the pressure cooker, and I can do, and I'm doing 12 of them for 3 gallons. So we'll get going right now. So this recipe, we're going to dough in at 159 degrees. We want to hold it for about an hour or so at 148 degrees. So we want as many fermentable sugars as possible. That's why the low mash temp. So we'll see what happens. I'm at 159 degrees right now. I'm just adding that right now, and we'll see where the temperature stabilizes at. So the alarm just went off. It's the pH was real good. It was at 5.4. But the temperature was a little low according to my old thermometer, which is kind of iffy. It showed at 142 degrees. So I'm going to, just for grins, I'm going to give this a stir. And I'll take a check of the conversion. So for that, take a sample. Put some wort on the plate. And then take a little bit of iodine, drop on there. If the iodine stays the same color, it's converted. If it changes to a dark blue or black in that wort, it means it's not quite converted yet. We'll see what happens. If I can get the, stays the same color. Looks about the same to me. It's not blue or black. So I think we're good right there. I'm going to get this into the, I'll drain that through, I'll batch sparge it, and give it a quick boil, and then it goes into the jars. So that worked out real well. We ended up with just over 3 gallons of wort. Just put that back here to heat up. And I'm going to add a ½ teaspoon of the yeast beer nutrient. Put that in there and just give it a stir. So I'll get that covered up and give it a quick boil, and while that's heating up, I'll clean up along the way. So that's been boiling a few minutes now. I'm going to shut off the heat and fill up these jars, and they'll go into the pressure cooker. So there we go. We got the 12 quarts. I had a loss. I had to tilt the boil kettle to get the last one in there. Have probably not even a quart left in here, so it's all good. That's cooling off. The wort sample is cooling off for an original gravity sample. Look at these. Put the lids on all these right now. So it doesn't need to be sterilized. It doesn't need to. You don't need to sanitize these lids. Make sure they're on there tight. I mean, the pressure cooking is gonna sterilize everything anyhow. There we go. Now I'm going to put 6 at a time into the pressure canner and go from there. And before they all go in, just make sure those lids are on there tight. So with the 3 quarts of water that the directions say, I don't know if you can see that, but it's about a little over an inch up on the side of those jars. Look at that, got the heat turned on. I'll get that, try to get that lid on there properly. Here we go. Just line it up so that the arrows will line up. I was trying to line it up so that it would line up closed, but you line it up open. Then twist it over. It should be sealed now. Heat's on. That's just a waiting game, and then you got to watch the pressure gauge. Then turn back the heat once you hit about our highest temperature or our highest pressure of about 15 pounds, and try to mess around with it there. And once you're between 13 and 15 pounds, set the timer for 15 minutes on each batch. There's going to be 2 batches. It's at like 4 pounds. So what happens, I think it starts to steam. This pops up. It's got a seal inside of it. This is in case, I think this is in case you get too much pressure. Anyway, yeah, it's slowly rising. We're about 5 pounds now. Things that's starting to happen. It's at 13 pounds. I turned down the heat a little bit. I'll try to maintain 13 pounds or maybe a little more. Turn it back up just a smidgen. You can hear it boiling inside there. Doing its thing. Right at 13 pounds right now. Turn it up just another hair. It's not all the way on high right now, so got to keep an eye on it, and I'll set the timer. Give it 15 minutes from now. Alright, so the alarm just went off. I maintained it at, it went up to about 15 pounds. I backed it off. It was at about 14 pounds. It did not go under 13 pounds for the whole 15 minutes. So just shut off the heat. Then you just got to wait until it cools off enough where you can open up the lid. You couldn't open it up now, no way. It's 14 pounds of pressure and it's super hot. Anyway, now it's just a waiting game, and then we'll drain out the water, add another 3 quarts, and go from there and get those last 6 jars canned. So to try to speed things up, there's this little pressure valve on here. I'm not sure what it's called, but we'll see what happens. Don't try this at home. This is inside home brewing, but don't try this at home. See what happens. Oh yeah. Not too dangerous. Could get burned in the face though, but That will get rid of the pressure so we can open the lid a little quicker. I can hear it bubbling in there. With the pressure change, I think for some reason it's still boiling hot. I'm not a scientist, obviously, or I wouldn't be releasing the pressure like this. Anyway, be careful. Alright, the pressure release valve here is down. There's no pressure in there. It says 0. I took this off. There's no steam coming out of there. It should be safe to open up. Ooh, yeah. It's still very hot, of course. Done deal there. They will have brake material in there. No big deal. I dumped the brake material right in to the yeast starter with the yeast all into the flask, and just go from there. I don't know for a fact, but I think the brake material is good for the yeast. I think it has stuff in it, nutrients that the yeast like. So I'm going to take all these out and then dump out what water is in there and add another 3 quarts, so I know I'm safe with having enough water in there. I don't know how much water evaporated or was blown out through steam, so better safe than sorry. So we'll just repeat the process one more time. So the second batch should be done. It has cooled off and there's no pressure in there. I don't hear any bubbling. There we go. Little boiling action still. And these, I've been hearing them pop. It sucks down the lid. They're all done except for this one. Oh, there it goes. Right when I pushed on it, it sucked it down. So those are all properly sealed. I'll just get the rest of these out there, and I'll get the rest of these put out there and we'll be good to go. So there we go. Even the color difference between the ones that are semi-cooled off and the hot ones. It's interesting. So I'll just let those seal up and we'll check on them tomorrow. So it's been almost 2 weeks now. The other day I got a thing in the mail, or a thing in the email reminded me that it's time to register for the National Homebrew Competition. So I decided I got a couple beers already in the works, but I wanted to enter 3 this year. So I'm going to make I decided I'm going to make a stout just for the NHC, and because I haven't brewed a stout in about 1.5 years. So these are all ready. You can check this out. I can see they still have all the brake material in there. Some sticking to the side, a lot on the bottom. They're all pretty much the same. So I'll show you just how easy it is to get a yeast starter going. I got the Imperial yeast, the Darkness A10. I've used that before on a stout. Works great. And I'll get going on this right now. I'll show you how easy it is to make a starter once you have all these all done. Very simple. So what you want to do is make sure everything is very sanitized. I got my flask here. That's been well, it was put away clean. I just brought it in, rinsed it out with some soap and water, and then sanitized it with Star San. That's ready to go. It was just draining out right now. And the jar itself, you know, it was sterilized by being boiled, but you know, it's been sitting around for a couple weeks. So I take isopropyl alcohol. I use the 91% isopropyl alcohol. Clean off the lid, clean the lip around the edge around the top of the jar with the alcohol. Make sure your gloves are sanitized. I think alcohol is much more effective than spraying a little Star Sand on there. It's just water with the low pH. Pop that lid off. And then, with the alcohol, clean the lip. Clean the lip of that jar. It's going into this flask. Just dump it right in. Stir it up, get all that brake material mixed up. Dump the whole thing in. Then, the yeast package. I spray it down with alcohol. It's going to pretty much instantly kill any germs that may happen to be on there. There probably are no germs on there, but or bacteria, anything like that. The lids, throw them in the recycle. I've got the a razor blade. I use a razor blade. You can use the scissors, whatever, to cut that bag open, cut the yeast open. Sanitized. Dump that all in there. Ah, it smells good. So that's good to go. Okay. Magnetic stir bar. Sanitized, wiped out with alcohol. Throw that in. I'll get that on the stir plate and we're good to go. Very easy, very quick. So that's been on the stir plate now for like a day and a half. I really like the convenience of making my own starters like that. It came out at 1.040 was the original gravity. I think the yeast manufacturers suggest 1.035, but works fine for me. It was just ended up with right around 3 gallons after sparge. Gave it a little bit of a boil, and then put it into the jars. Pressure canned it. It was I try to keep it between 13 and 15 pounds for 15 minutes, and go from there. Just set it aside, let it cool off. Every time you need a starter, just take one out, open it up, make sure everything's clean and sanitized, sterilized. Put it in the flask, and add the yeast and put it on the stir plate. You're good to go. So if you want to do your own starters, it's pretty simple if you have all the equipment, and it's not all that much of an expense to buy a pressure canner. So anyway, brew it you like what you brew. We'll see you next time inside Home Brewing.